Anyways, let's move on from periods.
Oh, come on. Unless we're talking about punctuation, you do not say that word.
All right.
It's special lady time.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nerds You're Looking For podcast, a weekly nerd culture podcast that discusses nerd culture through various segments. My name is Tyler Hunt, alongside my co-host, as always, Patty Coon. How's it going, Pat?
I was trying to distract you by my awesome dancing, but you were still stone cold Steve Austin over there. I couldn't even get you to laugh.
At least I wasn't Hulk Hogan, am I right?
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, like 3 hours ago that happened, yeah.
But yeah, I'm awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought we were going to talk about wrestling for a little bit. Oh,
no, that is the extent of my wrestling knowledge. So that apparently Hulk Hogan called someone the N-word.
Yeah, that's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Right? What you going to do when WWE fires you?
But
did you get that reference? Do you know Hulk Hogan? No.
I know who he is.
Do you know his like sayings and stuff? No.
I know he calls everybody brother.
He does do that.
I watched that reality show for like a season that he was on.
Oh yeah, Hogan Knows Best.
Yeah. They got like a monkey or something. I remember that episode.
Typical reality TV.
Yeah.
Here's a funny story. I talked about on the podcast before how I used to love wrestling when I was younger, like in middle school, but I was also really into it when I was like 3 years old. And my dad took me to see wrestling at Robert Stadium whenever it was here and stuff, that kind of stuff. And I actually had this is so embarrassing, WWF underwear, and like Hulk Hogan was on my ass when I was 3 years old. Is that a little fucked up?
Yeah, like, that's weird.
I think that they got out of that market of young boys underwear, but
for sure.
But I had that, and I remember that very vividly too.
I bet you do. You probably repressed it.
It's pretty strange though, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's awkward that I talk about how I don't like, I don't care for, it is what it is. I don't really have any strong feelings about wrestling.
Yeah.
But I know who he is, and I made a wrestling reference earlier in the episode. So maybe I know a little bit more about wrestling than I put on.
Yeah, maybe. It was, I mean, it was a phenomenon there for a while. And
yeah. I've actually seen wrestling live.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, if you like wrestling, go see it live, and then you're not going to like wrestling.
I get why people like it, because obviously I liked it for a long time and I kind of grew out of it. But I mean, I guess I would say I get why people like it and defend it, but it's just not my cup of tea anymore.
Yeah. It's just entertainment. Obviously I don't know. I never thought that it was real, and I don't get people that like, well, it's not real wrestling, blah, blah, blah. I mean, either is movies, and people like movies. Like, Chris Pratt really isn't controlling velociraptors.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's entertainment, and I can appreciate it for the soap opera aspect of it and the entertainment aspect of it, but I just never really got into it. And that is by far the longest that we've ever talked about wrestling.
Can you appreciate it for Hulk Hogan's use of the N-word?
No comment. I'm not even going to go there.
All right. You ready to get this thing going?
Sure. Why not? Oh, you want me to start, don't you?
I thought about going right into it, but I'm like, I don't think I've ever introduced this segment before, so I'm not going to even try.
Yeah. So if this is your first episode, thanks for checking us out. We start each episode not talking about wrestling, but just every episode just talk about wrestling. It'll just be the same conversation over and over again, because that is literally all I know. But anyways, we start each episode off by talking about what we're into. So Tyler, what are you into this week?
I went and saw Trainwreck last weekend.
Awesome. So did I.
Yeah. I almost asked what did you think, but I guess if it's what I'm into, I should probably say what I thought first. I thought it was not very funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were a couple parts where I chuckled, but honestly, I laughed more during Ted 2 than I laughed during Trainwreck.
Do you like Inside Amy Schumer?
I've only watched a couple episodes and it's okay. I don't think it was necessarily her. I think that she can be funny. Some of the stuff that she does makes me cringe a little bit because I think she's really reaching a lot of times.
Sure.
And I don't really think it's funny. Like if a girl is making fart jokes, I don't think it's funny because she's a girl. I think
that's kind of sexist.
No, because I don't think fart jokes from guys are funny either. But I think that some female comedians go out of their way to be crude because it's funny that a girl's saying it.
Sure.
And I'd rather your material just speak for itself and be funny. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I don't necessarily think that it applies to her. I think some of her stuff is really good. I don't know. My wife really likes it. I'm not a huge fan of the show. The movie I thought was actually really funny. My problems with the movie were the fact that I felt like it was like 20 some minutes too long. Yeah. And I mean, that kind of goes standard for Judd Apatow movies in general. I don't think he's ever seen the inside of an editing room. It's really bad.
It's getting worse with time too.
I think he just says fuck it. Like I'd be surprised if they cut anything from this movie.
So, I mean, that being said though, like I don't think it was that funny, but I didn't think it was a bad movie. So I think Judd Apatow's movies keep getting less and less funny as time wears on, but they start to, I don't want to say they're getting better because I wouldn't say like This Is 40 was better than Knocked Up. But no. They're starting to tell maybe more mature stories. I don't know.
My problem with this movie is I think it tried to be... Have you ever seen They Came Together?
I've seen like 10 minutes of it before I fell asleep.
So you kind of understand, sort of, that it's a romantic comedy satire. Yeah. Exactly. I feel like this movie wanted to be that, just a little less in your face about it, because obviously they came together. If you've seen that movie, it's almost like a scary movie, sort of satire. Like it's much more in your face. This movie was a lot more subtle about it. But you can't be a satire and then still go through all the same beats. Mm-hmm. There was a point in Trainwreck where I was literally just sitting there waiting for that argument, that big argument that was going to happen. 'Cause that happens in every romantic comedy. And in this one, it was such a fucking stretch. I was like, you are two adults. You shouldn't be arguing about this stupid thing that happened.
Well, that's actually what I appreciate most about this movie was Bill Hader's character.
Oh no, I didn't like his character.
I thought that he was awesome. And then there were a bunch of times in the film where I thought that big fight was coming. And Bill Hader's character is kind of like, no, I mean, what are you talking about? We're normal adults. We're just going to talk through this. And it was kind of refreshing. But then, spoiler alert, the big fight does come. And it's very formulaic from that point.
I didn't like that you get a guy like Bill Hader, and I'm not just saying that he can do just comedy because he's been in some dramas or Skeleton Twins last year was really great. And he played much more of it is a comedic performance, but it's much more a dark performance. I just don't think that you should get a guy like that can be so funny and be animated and not give him that much to work with. Yeah. Like, I don't see Bill Hader as a straight guy. And that's what he plays in this movie. He does have some jokes, but they gave most of it to Amy Schumer's character, which makes sense because she's the one that wrote the movie. And side note, and this is obviously a nitpick, she plays... Inside Amy Schumer, she plays a fictionalized version of herself. And in this movie, she plays a character named Amy. Can she not play a character that isn't named Amy?
Like, how hard would it have been to just change the name of the character in this movie? I don't get that choice.
I don't know. I don't know. It's some weird, maybe it's some weird marketing, or maybe she just can't remember.
Maybe this is her first big film role. Maybe she's trying to get people to remember her name by making
that's what I'm saying. Like maybe it's some strange marketing technique. I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I highly doubt that throughout this whole process, nobody said, why the fuck is your name Amy in the movie?
Yeah. I thought Colin Quinn was great in it as well.
Yeah, I think some of that stuff was kind of forced, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There were a lot of scenes that were out of place, and a lot of the stuff...
It slows it down a lot.
For sure.
I love LeBron James, but I love John Cena more.
Yeah.
His character, it's used so perfectly because it's so... Like, he's not in the movie very long.
Yeah.
But just it's kind of... He comes in, and then he does a fantastic job, and then he's out.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love how movies don't overuse things. Like I said that about Days of Future Past, which is a movie I'm going to actually talk about what I'm into with Quicksilver.
Yeah.
That was beautifully done. His character was awesome. It brought kind of a shot to the movie, and then he was gone. And I felt like John Cena kind of played a similar role in Trainwreck. Obviously, it's not a similar role as far as theme and everything.
Yeah.
But as far as usage is concerned, he plays kind of a similar role, and I thought he killed it.
Yeah. His character, I don't know. I didn't connect with his jokes.
No, I thought his jokes were hilarious.
See, I don't know. I was waiting for that big punchline, and I didn't think that the stuff, I don't want to spoil like what his big joke is with his character, but I didn't really get it. I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I'm really just pissing on this movie, and I did enjoy it. Like, I didn't sit there bored. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't as funny as I hoped it would have been. I appreciated the heart that was in it, but it just wasn't what I was expecting, I guess. And it was more formulaic than I was expecting. I would think that Amy Schumer's first big movie that she wrote would be something really original, and it really wasn't, to be honest.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I mean, I had high hopes for it just because I have seen her show, and some of the stuff that she does is really great. Like, she did a kind of a 12 Angry Men skit that I thought was really great. And Judd Apatow, even though he does need to edit some of his movies, I do think that he's funny. And I mean, obviously I love his movies. So
I wonder what drew him to this movie.
I don't know. Maybe her show.
It's the first movie in a long time he didn't write that he directed. So
maybe he likes the show. I mean, she's kind of a rising star. This movie is doing well, so I would consider her a star at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. This kind of catapulted her to that next level. So jump on now, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, man. What are you into?
Well, I kind of hinted at it a little bit. I'm going to talk about Days of Future Past, which obviously we reviewed a long time ago when it first came out, but they just recently released a new cut of the movie called the Rogue Cut, which essentially, we've talked about this before. When they first filmed this movie, the X-Men Rogue was in the original cut of the film. Her character was in it. Well, I mean, she's in the theatrical version as well, but for like a split second. Her character played much more of a role in, I guess, the first cut of the film. But then they decided to go back and reshoot some of the stuff and change it a little bit. Well, they finally released this special edition of this Blu-ray where you can see the movie. They're just calling it the Rogue Cut. I watched it the other day with my wife. She was really excited to see it, cause she's really into True Blood right now. And, what's her name? I can't.
Anna Paquin.
Yeah. She's obviously in True Blood, and she's Rogue. So she was really looking forward to seeing this. It's kind of disappointing.
Really?
I like the Blu-ray set together. Like, it's much more of a kind of a definitive special edition. It has both cuts, obviously, and then it has a lot more special features. So I appreciate it as a collector's item, but the movie itself, the Rogue Cut itself, I completely agree why they cut it out.
Yeah.
It's slow. Her plot line in this movie slows it down, and it serves little to no purpose.
I mean, I haven't watched it yet, and I'm really looking forward to watching it, but I guess that's not surprising. I would imagine they cut it out for a reason. So
yeah, it kind of just gives Magneto something to do in the middle of the movie. That's basically it. Old Magneto.
Oh, because he doesn't do much in it either.
No.
And in the
present day.
Yeah, in the cut that made it.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen.
Yes. And so that was kind of disappointing. Like, I completely agree why they cut it out. It just felt so weird. And it's only like 10 to 15 minutes longer than the original cut. But I don't know. I like it as, okay, I've seen it as the nerd I am, the movie buff that I am. I'm glad that I watched it and I'm glad that I own it as part of my collection. I'm looking forward to going through all the special features because like I said, I think there's like 90 more minutes of special features. Like they kind of beefed it up a little bit.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that it's a waste of money, but don't get your hopes up for a better version of the movie because the theatrical version is the best version of that movie.
I haven't dug into this Blu-ray yet. I bought it, but I haven't really gotten into it. So is the theatrical cut on this one?
Yep. They're both on there.
Okay. So good thing I bought the first release.
I'm debating whether or not I'm going to sell it or not.
I got the Steelbook from Target and I'm a sucker.
I would keep that for sure.
I'm a sucker for shit like that. So
I just get the regular version. So I'll probably end up just selling that. Cause I mean, I have both cuts on the Rogue cut. And I mean, like I said, it has a lot more special features. I'm assuming the special features on Days of Future Past, the regular Blu-ray is the same stuff on the Rogue cut. I haven't checked it I would imagine. Yeah. So I'll probably end up selling my Days of Future Past, the regular version.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So I guess that's it. Our next segment is just plainly called comics. Tyler and I read a ton of comics, and we just like to spotlight one a week. So Tyler, what are you reading this week?
So I finally got around to reading the first 2 issues of A-Force.
Oh, yeah?
Which I think we brought up in Nerd News a while ago, and I mentioned being excited for it. And I've had the first 2 issues have been out for quite a while, and issue 3 doesn't come out till August. So it took me a while to get around to reading them, but finally did. And for those of you that don't know, A-Force is a tie-in to Secret Wars, and it's kind of like a segment of Battle World that has an all-female Avengers led by She-Hulk, and then Dazzler's in there, and there's a female Loki, which is weird, and I don't know if it's a character that was created for this or if it's been around.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, she's a heroine though, so she's not a villain or anything. Who else is in it? Miss America, have you heard of her?
No.
So I don't know if she's been around or if she's a minor character or what. I had never heard of her, but she's in it. Just some more obscure female characters in the Marvel Universe. The main one being She-Hulk. And like I said, she's like the leader of the group. And like I said, I was really excited for it. I mentioned before that I'm a sucker for strong female characters. So you have like this Avengers team made of a bunch of strong female characters. I thought that that'd be a really good book. And I was really excited when they announced that this book would go on past Secret Wars, so that this team would be around past that. But like most things, Secret Wars, very disappointed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the dialogue in these books are really silly. Is
it women that write it?
I honestly don't know, but all of the characters except for She-Hulk talk, and maybe I guess the female Loki talk like teen girls. So
I know it's tough for guys to write good female characters, so that's why I asked.
And I mean, in all fairness, I guess some of the characters are technically teenage girls. Yeah. But it kind of diminishes from the whole superheroine thing for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they make the characters a little dainty, which again, I wasn't really expecting. You know, what I was going into expecting would be a strong team of Avengers, and that's not really what I'm getting. And the things that they're fighting are kind of weird, and it's a mystery that they're trying to solve at this point, so I won't spoil anything there. But
are their cycles all synced up? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm sexist. Okay. No, I guess it's not sexist though. That's just nature. Anyways, let's move on from periods.
Oh, come on. Unless we're talking about punctuation, you do not say that word.
All right.
It's special lady time.
No, but this is very connected to Secret Wars. So like where Renew Your Vows is like a completely different entity. This is like the Thors show up at a couple points. So the group of Thors that are in Secret Wars and kind of like the muscle for Doctor Doom. So it's very much a part of Battle World, very much a part of Secret Wars. And that being said, the plot is really weird and strange. And that's because, like I said, it's Secret Wars and all of this shit has been strange. So, I was a little disappointed, but I'll probably stick with it just to see if it gets better after Secret Wars is over.
Have you read Battle World? I mean, I can't add anything. I haven't read this. You would hate it so much. It's so weird. This latest issue, they had a bunch of Wolverines hunting other Wolverines. It was weird. I mean, I like it because I like weird shit like that, but you would hate it so much.
I was going through my stack of stuff I'm trying to get to read, and I got to Infinity Gauntlet issue 2, and I was just like, oh God. Cause I mean, you'd explained on a past episode how weird that gets, and it's just almost a chore at this point. So I don't know if I want to be a completionist and buy all of them and read them or just cut it off. So we'll see.
All right, cool, man.
What comic are you into?
I'm actually really excited to talk to you about this one because it's something that you brought up in a past episode. And I said that I was interested in it. And normally when I say that, I'm just trying to be nice. It's just bullshit.
Oh, for sure. I never expect you to actually go buy something you bring up.
No, you talked about the Mantle.
Yeah.
And I picked it up.
Oh,
and I really love it. It's fantastic. It has so many different layers to it. I'm really, really getting into it. I love how the Mantle chooses, and I have a theory of why I think it chooses who it chooses. But I won't spoil that. We can talk about that another time, but I like how there's the plague, and basically when you become the Mantle, there's only been one plague, but then there's been however many mantles. So essentially it's a death sentence.
Yeah.
So I think that brings an interesting dynamic to the characters, and especially I guess she's not, well, he wasn't the brand new Mantle. He was for like a day, and then his girlfriend became the Mantle. And so I think it's definitely interesting how she knows her fate. And I mean, she got to see it firsthand. And I think there's definitely some human emotions and stuff like that they're being fleshed out. And I think it's definitely interesting. And I mean, it's a superhero. It's basically a Green Lantern kind of ripoff, but they do have this other aspect where the plague hunts them, and he's kind of escalating his hunt. And there's a cliffhanger at 3. I don't know if you've read 3 yet or not, but there's a pretty big cliffhanger at the end of 3 that I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, I'm bummed because I had to order it online and it hasn't come yet. So
yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I talked about it a few episodes ago, how much I loved issue 1, and it's maintained quality through issue 2. So I'm really excited to read issue 3 and just kind of keep up with this one. We say it a million times, but just Image is doing some awesome stuff with what they put out.
Yeah. I actually just recently read, I was getting kind of far behind on Trees. And so I read a couple of issues last night, and I mean, man, I love that.
I stopped buying Trees.
Really?
I got really far. I read the first 2 issues, and they're on like 10 or 11 now. I
think 11 just came out, and that's when I realized, shit, I've only read through like 7 or 8. And so I was a few issues behind. So,
I cut that out of my budget.
Oh man, it's good. I like it a lot.
I don't know. I didn't connect with the first 2 issues, but I could see how it could grow and that world could get bigger.
There's a lot going on. Cause I mean, you have the different cities that are dealing with the trees, and how, different societies and cultures and stuff were kind of dealing with being, in the shadows and stuff like that. So I like it a lot. I only brought it up because obviously it's another Image book that, I mean, there's just so many. I think about half of what I read is Image now. It's mostly Marvel, mostly Image, and like Batman.
Yeah. Do you read Outcast?
No, I never got into Outcast.
Wow. I love Outcast. I've talked about it once. I'm
kind of a hipster. It was just like, it came out and everybody I was like, I don't know.
Well, the crazy thing about that is they're like 10 issues in, and they already showed like the pilot for the TV show at Comic-Con. So that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because it's almost like as soon as it was thought of, they're like, okay, here's a TV deal because you're Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
But it has really good quality. I don't know if the TV show will keep that up, but the comic's pretty awesome.
All right, cool, man.
Not that you're going to go pick up 10 issues of Outcast.
No, Tyler, I'm really interested.
All right, we'll talk about it next week then.
All right, man.
All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so our next segment is Nerd News. We like to talk about the nerd news every week on our episode, and basically it is what it sounds like. We talk about any nerd stories that have broke since the last time we talked. So this week, Pat, I really don't have anything too groundbreaking. It was kind of a slow week, especially, I guess, coming out of Comic-Con. Not a lot was announced or shown, but I do have a few things. So the first one I thought was really awesome. The Lego Batman movie is moving forward with Will Arnett voicing Batman, and Michael Cera is going to be voicing Robin.
Yep.
Oh, it's so awesome to me.
Is it Dick Grayson, or does it even matter?
It doesn't say. I'm sure it'll be, it probably doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, I'm curious to see how this movie will go, but you know, he was one of the best parts of the Lego movie. So it'd be, if the humor that's around that character is in the Lego movie is kind of put into this solo movie, it'd be pretty fun.
Is Lord Miller?
No, but I forget who the director is, but I want to say
They're not involved at all.
they're probably producers or something.
Oh, okay.
But, it's not some bum off the street. So I can't remember who it was, but
I don't know. I've seen a couple of bums that I think would be pretty good film directors. That joke sounded better in my head. And then as soon as the words started coming out, I was like, eh.
So the director is named Chris McKay.
Never heard of him.
He was an editor on the first Lego movie.
Okay, cool.
And it looks like
that was it.
like he directed a lot of Robot Chicken.
Okay, that's cool.
Which I enjoy that show. And what's good about that show is it's kind of like, it's not the same animation style as the Lego movie, but there's similarities there. So
yeah. And I guess the humor is somewhat similar.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would imagine that a lot of it's going to be kind of tongue in cheek.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was the first one.
I didn't realize this until I just looked this up. The writer of it, Seth Grahame-Smith. And I know that you're a pretty big fan of his books, right?
Yeah, movies not so much.
Movies, it's like
Dark Shadows. He did he wrote the screenplay for Abraham Lincoln, Vampire
Hunter. I don't think that he wrote the screenplay for the upcoming Pride and Prejudice and Zombies though. I think that's just based on his novel.
I'm almost positive he did.
Are you? I thought that it said that it was just based on his novel.
No, I thought he wrote it as well. Why wouldn't he write it?
I go to the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies IMDb page and it says writers. Jane Austen is the person credited writer. And
pretty sure she didn't write the screenplay.
These characters. And then Seth Grahame-Smith wrote the novel and Burr Steers.
Oh, really?
Wrote the screenplay.
I don't know who that is.
What a badass name.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. That's such a cool name. God damn it. Mom and Dad. My name could have been Burst.
No, not Burst. Burrs. Burrs. And his last name is Steers. Burr Steers.
That's still pretty cool, but I wish it was Burst. That's what I thought you said.
No, I did not.
But damn it, Mom and Dad, my name could have been Burst.
All right, man. You ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
So this next one, I mean, obviously take for a grain of salt. It's just a new week, new rumor, but apparently Benicio del Toro has been approached to be the villain in Star Wars Episode 8.
Yep.
Allegedly. We don't know if there's any truth to that, but there's no telling what kind of character he would play, especially without knowing anything hardly about Episode 7. But he's a very villainous looking man.
Sure.
And I'm sure that he could bring a lot to the Star Wars universe. So I think that I'd be optimistic about it, you know?
I was kind of bummed that he wasn't used all that much in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, they kind of teased that he was going to be a bigger part of that movie. And I think he's such a talented actor that it's kind of a bummer that he wasn't a bigger part of that movie. So maybe this is, I mean, they're owned by Disney. So maybe it's kind of their way of here throwing you kind of a bone thing. Cause I know he said that he wants to be more part of the Marvel universe and he doesn't think that he's going to be used much in Guardians 2. So
which is a bummer. Like that movie was full of high points, but he was definitely one of them.
Oh yeah.
Like I love his character in it. And he showed up at the end of Thor: The Dark World. Like that was he was the character they used to tease Guardians of the Galaxy. And then he's in, 10 minutes. So
yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal actor. And I mean,
for sure.
He used to be one of those guys that if I saw that he was in something, even if I wasn't interested in the movie, I'm like, well, if he's in it, maybe he'll kind of elevate it. Like I've seen, what was that stupid movie with Halle Berry? Things We Lost in the Fire or something like that. I've seen that movie because he's in it.
Is it bad then?
It's not good. I haven't watched it in a long time. I saw it in theaters with a girlfriend and, she loved it. I mean, it is what it is. I wasn't that impressed with it. I haven't seen it since. So it's kind of hard for me to say that it's bad, but I mean, I did say it was bad. And I don't take it back.
It must have not been that hard to say it.
Yeah. I mean, he's really great. I don't know. I don't follow his career like I used to, obviously.
Yeah, he's been in some lower profile movies here lately too. Like Che, isn't that a movie he did?
Yeah, it's a 2-parter. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen those. But I bet he acts his ass off in it.
Yep.
It's funny because he was up for the role of Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness, so kind of missed his boat here. Maybe he'll jump on the Star Wars train. So we'll see.
All right, cool, man.
All right. Did you happen to see the Good Dinosaur trailer?
I did.
Oh, so what'd you think of that?
I did one of my trailer reviews for the teaser trailer
a
few months back, and they finally released a full version. And in my trailer review, I mentioned that the dinosaurs looked a little cartoony to me, and I think they look a lot better in this full trailer. Like, they're much more detailed, and in the teaser trailer, they just looked really... Cartoony is not a word, but it's like the best word that I can think of to describe them. But in this full trailer, they look a lot better. So I was happy about that because, I mean, Pixar, as much as they tell really awesome stories, they also have kind of made their name by producing just the best animation. And I was a little bit disappointed in how, like, simple the dinosaurs looked. But it looks like I was wrong to begin with.
I think the animation's good, but I am surprised they went with such a cartoonish look for it, I guess. Kind of agreeing with you there. But it's not what I expected. For some reason, I thought this movie was going to be, so the dinosaurs don't go extinct, right? And now it's present day and there are dinosaurs.
In like... New York City, like Muppets go to New York City.
But dinosaurs are just like walking down the street.
Like they wear top hats and stuff.
No, I don't know. I don't know why they wear top hats.
Why my brain went straight to dinosaurs and top hats.
I just thought it'd be like you look in your backyard and there's like a stegosaurus eating your garden or some shit.
Which one is that?
The one with the spikes on the back.
Okay, cool. I don't know dinosaurs.
Obviously.
I know Triceratops. Yeah. That's the one with the horns. And T-Rex is the one with the little arms.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that it?
Velociraptors.
Yeah. So what do you know about dinosaurs that you didn't learn from Jurassic Park?
Nothing. I know like a little bit more about dinosaurs than I know about wrestling. Yeah, this episode it's not going great for me.
No, so, I mean, I have high hopes for it, so, cause it's Pixar, it's just not what I expected.
It looks a lot like Ice Age. It looks a lot like the plot of Ice Age, the first one, which I actually really liked that movie. The sequel's not so much, but yeah. I liked Ice Age, but it looks exactly the same plot.
I saw this, like, funny anecdote the other day about Pixar movies, and it was like 1998, Toys Have Feelings.
Oh, yeah.
2002 or whatever, Fish Have Feelings. And 2015, Emotions Have Feelings. So I thought that was kind of funny. But, okay, we'll move on. So, Jurassic World sequel got announced yesterday, for June 22nd, 2018.
Yep.
So, I don't think this can be any good, right?
Probably not.
Like, I know that Jurassic World has its naysayers out there, but for the most part, it was pretty well received, and I think we both liked it about an equal amount. It was
a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah,
it's not a perfect movie by any means.
No, not at all. But I don't think that they can capture the charisma again. Like, how many times can you be like, oh shit, the dinosaurs got out?
Yeah.
Apparently 4 times.
Yeah.
And then, an upcoming 5th time. But, you know, there's a reason that the Jurassic Park sequels aren't well remembered or well liked.
For sure.
So even with Chris Pratt, I don't think you can do it again. Unless you have a really strong story, and I don't know what direction you can go in for that.
I have no idea.
I mean, how many
dinosaurs and top hats though? Seriously? Gold.
It's like a gala and they ride the dinosaurs.
That's just ridiculous.
Well, they've done like leading up to the park. They did dinosaurs loose in a city. They did having to travel to an island to save a kid. Then they did the park's actually open. So what is there left to do?
Dinosaurs and
Just
top hats.
make tons of money is what.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were never going to not do this movie.
I mean,
it just made a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, it's the highest grossing movie of all time, right? Something like that. Did it ever beat Avatar?
No, it didn't beat Avatar, but it broke biggest opening weekend numbers.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
That the Avengers had set.
Which, enjoy that until Christmas.
I fairly hope Star Wars just makes all the money and knocks Avatar out, which I think it will, but...
Like, they'll just get all of the money, like, in the world.
How the fuck did Avatar make so much money?
I don't know, man.
People don't
3D?
even talk about that fucking movie anymore. And it made a shit ton of money.
I enjoyed it. I still kind of defend that movie because I know people have been bashing it recently, but...
I mean, it is what it is to me. I just don't understand how it's the highest grossing movie of all time.
I don't know. I enjoy it. I watched the 3.5 hour version, special edition. So, I mean,
that sounds like torture.
I enjoyed it. I'll never watch it again. I have that special edition. I probably will never watch that movie again.
I own that special edition too, but I'll have to have a really bored day to be like, you know what? Let's watch 3 hours of Avatar. Maybe I'll get around to it whenever the sequels start coming out.
Sure. The, 9 sequels that they're working on?
Yeah. Sam Worthington is like thanking whatever God he prays to. It's like, thank God Avatar is making sequels because my career went straight in the shitter.
Yeah. You never saw the Man on a Cliff or a Man on a Ledge or whatever?
I kind of wanted to see that, to be honest, but no, I did not.
Okay, cool.
Did
you? Good talk. No, I've never seen it.
We should watch it. Watch it, right. And we should review it.
That would be so fucking random.
Check out our newest episode where we review some obscure movie from 5 years ago that nobody saw.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to get very many downloads.
Probably not. All right. One last story. I'm surprised actually that we didn't talk about this last week. I guess it just kind of slipped through the cracks with all the Comic-Con stuff, but we got our first look at Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yep.
So what do you think?
Well, I was going to let you have the Power Rangers joke, but I guess you didn't take it.
Nah, go ahead.
He looks like that guy from Power Rangers. Yeah, that was all a joke.
Right. Yeah. Ivan Ooze.
Yep, exactly. I mean, they had to have known that, right?
I don't know, man.
He looks fucking stupid.
He doesn't look anything like Oscar Isaac. He looks like a Power Rangers villain.
Yeah. But in their defense, I just watched Days of Future Past, and he does look like that guy at the end.
Oscar Isaac does? Or the Ivan Ooze does?
Both. No, at the end where he's building the pyramid.
Yeah.
I could see how that kid grew up to be
Ivan Ooze.
Yeah. Shut up. You're going to get me confused. I'm so bad with names.
No, I really appreciate that they're doing it practically. I figured that it'd be motion capture CGI. So whenever I saw...
That's how they did his voice.
Whose voice?
Oscar Isaac. I mean, not motion capture, obviously, but it's all digitally done.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I hadn't read that. That's interesting. I mean, that's fine. Whatever. I'm impressed that they did a practical effect with that, but he doesn't look menacing at all.
No, he looks silly.
It looks very silly. So hopefully they're making a strong movie and people quickly forget when that movie comes out because they're getting a lot of shit right now for how silly he looks.
Oh, yeah. Rightfully so, because he looks fucking stupid.
One would maybe say he almost looks like Ivan Ooze.
We would both say that because we both have said that.
Oh, man. Did you see that movie when it came out in theaters when you were a kid?
Of course.
I remember going to see it with my parents and just fucking loving it. And
it was great.
I needed all the toys. Like, there's new Zords. Like, I have to have these Zords, and I don't think I ever got them, which is kind of sad in retrospect, but...
Yeah. You're going to cry yourself to sleep tonight.
It's very much a first world problem. Like, but it's one of those things too where you always had the kid in class that had all the awesome toys. And so there was like some kid that I used to hang out with who had not only like all the separate Zords, but you could put them all together to make the big Zord. And that was like the thing. And I was never even close to having that.
That story is the first time Tyler ever got a boner.
Probably pretty close. All right. That's it for Nerd News, man.
All right, cool. So the next segment is just kind of our main topic. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do an Ant-Man review last week.
I didn't get to do an Ant-Man review.
Yeah, I was on the Obsessive Viewer because I'm cool and get invited to other people's podcasts. I got to do Ant-Man review with those guys over at the Obsessive Viewer. So check that out if you haven't already. But I haven't done it on my podcast, our podcast. So we're going to do an Ant-Man review.
All right. Just before we even get started, I'll go out there and say I have not listened purposefully to your review on the Obsessive Viewer. So
okay, good.
I'm going into this not having any idea what you thought of it because we don't, when we go see movies together, we don't talk.
No. The podcast has ruined our friendship.
It's just like, all right. And it's a really slow, quiet walk to our cars. And they're like, all right, you want to record tomorrow? Okay. Yeah. See you.
Yeah. It's awkward.
But it's all for the sake of the nerds you're looking for. So
sure.
We'll continue to be awkward.
We're not actually friends outside of this.
We used to be, and then the podcast just kind of made us business partners. So
okay, we're bringing this real.
I'm kidding.
Anyways, we like to start off our reviews with kind of just our general idea, our broad strokes, if you will. So, Tyler, what do you kind of think without getting into too many particulars?
I hate when you fucking do this to me because I have to tiptoe around specifics. So this movie was kind of strange to me because half of it felt refreshing and half of it felt very formulaic. So like okay, I can't get into specifics, so I won't go into specifics of how that is, but I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about it. So I enjoyed it for the most part, but it was a little tired in other parts as well. So
okay. I feel like this movie, more than the Thor movies, more than maybe the first Captain America movie, is going to divide a lot of Marvel fans. Because I think there's going to be people that hate it, and I think there's going to be people that love it. And I would say that I'm probably in the love it section of that. I do agree with you. It does feel very exposition heavy.
Yeah.
The first 30 minutes is just what I like to call comic book science. They just throw a lot of science sounding, science adjacent words around. And just not necessarily to confuse people, but just kind of, oh yeah, I don't really understand what they're saying. So it must be right what they're saying. And I don't like that. Just kind of show me Paul Rudd in the Ant-Man suit. That's what we came here to see. I don't need you to explain how it all works. I also liked how it is kind of a heist movie, which we haven't seen in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I love caper movies, and that's most of what this movie is the planning and then the execution of the heist.
And that's the part I think for me was refreshing.
Yeah.
So Guardians of the Galaxy was refreshing because it was not like any other Marvel movie.
Sure.
And the heist aspect of this movie was refreshing because you hadn't seen that ever before.
Yeah. And another thing that I liked is, other than really the Incredible Hulk, we haven't seen a Marvel hero go against a villain that essentially had exactly the same powers as that hero. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
That fight, I felt, I don't want to say danger because I'm sitting in a movie theater, but it's just you felt that the stakes were really high.
Yeah, I agree. That last battle, Ant-Man's going to win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's no way he doesn't, but they did do a good job of kind of keeping me on the edge of my seat with a few things,
sure.
Especially with his daughter being involved and that kind of stuff. So I can see what you're saying.
All right. So now that we kind of gotten our broad strokes, how'd you feel about the story? I mean, I guess we've talked a little bit about the exposition and stuff like that, but
I appreciated that the story was pretty much straightforward. I didn't get too, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It didn't get too convoluted.
Yep.
But it also felt very systematic in certain parts. And then I also think that this movie suffered a little bit from having 5 writers because there were parts of it that you could feel that felt very patched together.
Okay.
From scene to scene and just not all over the place. It wasn't that bad, but I think that it was pretty obvious that multiple people had their hands in the pot as far as writing goes.
Yeah. And we talked about this forever ago on a Nerd News. I'm sure Edgar Wright was set to direct this a long time ago. He wrote it and he left because, well, it's reported that he left because he didn't want to tie Ant-Man into the overall Marvel universe.
Yeah, I think he felt like the studio was pressuring him into putting stuff in like they did with, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen it, but like, you know, the Avengers are referenced and that kind of stuff. And that was probably the stuff that he was trying to avoid.
Did you feel like you could tell, okay, this is Edgar Wright wrote this or Paul Rudd wrote this part? Was it that bad you could feel?
Not at all. I'm curious. I'm really curious what Edgar Wright's original screenplay looked like.
Sure. But
for me, it felt very patched together in parts, but not like, oh, well, this was obviously Edgar Wright and oh, this is obviously Paul Rudd. I will say that I think Marvel made a strong choice with tying it into the greater Marvel universe because that was some of my favorite parts of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it.
I thought it felt forced. I liked the scene in general, but in the whole scope of the movie, it felt forced for me. Well, the
character that I think we're both referencing and trying not to spoil here, I can see that. I'm talking more along the lines of the movie opens up with a flashback of Hank Pym arguing with Peggy Carter and Howard Stark. And then the other guy, I don't remember his name, but he's basically was integral to the start of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I really appreciate how Marvel's creating this huge, awesome backstory through the TV shows and the films now about how S.H.I.E.L.D. got started and the history of superheroes.
Sure.
And I don't see any problem with Hank Pym was integral to the Marvel comic book history. So I thought that was a cool little tie-in.
Okay.
But I know I know you're talking about like when a certain character shows up.
Yes.
What about the lines like, there's a line where Paul Rudd says something along the lines of, why don't you call the Avengers?
I actually appreciated that because I'm sure I've stated this on the podcast before, probably multiple times. It always bugged me in solo superhero movies after the Avengers. Why wouldn't they wouldn't they come and help each other? Like, obviously this is Thor the Dark World, so it's going to be Thor-centric movie, but why wouldn't there be? I mean, obviously it's a business and there's contracts and they've signed on to do certain movies and they don't want to waste Chris Evans on a Thor movie and so on and so forth. But I liked how they kind of threw that in to justify why they had to do it and they didn't just call the Avengers. So I appreciated that. And they kind of justified why it is what it is. And I liked how the story was kind of self-contained. That's why I didn't like this particular scene. And we're trying so hard not to spoil it, but basically Ant-Man comes across the new Avengers complex that you see in Age of Ultron. Yeah. I don't think that's too big of a spoiler. And he comes across a certain character. Obviously, we won't spoil who he comes across, but that felt forced to me.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with that. Like, I don't think that's a stretch.
How'd you feel about Corey Stoll's character, the villain?
I thought Corey Stoll was great.
Yes, he is great in everything, by the way.
I thought that his character, there was like no development.
Oh, no. I thought his motivations were really cliche.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, we've seen this villain in 1,000 other movies.
So they've referenced towards, as they're, you mentioned the movie science and the comic book science, and there's like a throwaway line at the beginning where they talk about how if you spend too long in the suit or whatever, it kind of warps your mind, and that's what eventually ends up happening with Corey Stoll's character, and that's, to me, really lazy. Not even character development. It's like, well, this is why he's so bad.
But he was like that before he got in the suit, right?
And that was the whole time that I was sitting there, I was thinking about that. So if that does that to your mind, why the fuck are we doing this to Scott Lang?
Exactly. That bothered the fuck out of me because there's a particular scene where Michael Douglas, Hank Pym, says that to Scott Lang, Paul Rudd's character. And if I was Paul Rudd, I'd be like, then why the fuck am I like, you are doing this. Like you want me to sign up for this because you don't want to go crazy, basically. Yeah. If it makes you go crazy, why am I signing up for this?
So are we to expect in Ant-Man 4 that Paul Rudd's going to be insane?
I guess. I don't know. I think they kind of justified something with the helmet.
Maybe. I must have missed it.
Yeah. But my problem, and I completely agree with what you said about Corey Stoll. I really love him. I'm a huge fan of him in House of Cards season 1. I think the show really lost something when they got rid of that character. He's fantastic in The Strain, even though his hair piece is very distracting. It's so bad.
I've seen screenshots of him in that show with the hairpiece. Is there a reason that he has to have hair?
No, there's no fucking reason at all. They never justify why he has to. And I've read about a quarter of the first book, and they don't really mention anything about his hair in the book either. So I don't know why, but I don't want to get on a tangent about
just curious.
I am reviewing every episode on the nerdypodcast.com. Almost the nerd you're looking for podcast.com, but that's not the URL. Anyways, I don't like how they took a lot of liberties with his character. Darren Cross is like a pink Hulk in the character in the Ant-Man. Like he's an Ant-Man character. He's a villain in Ant-Man.
But is he not Yellow Jacket?
No, Yellow Jacket's I just read hero. This. Yeah.
Isn't Yellow Jacket Hank Pym?
Yeah, Hank Pym, one of his aliases, yeah.
What the fuck?
So, I mean, they certainly took a lot of liberties with that character. Essentially not Darren Cross at all in the comic book. But I liked how, that being said, the tone of this movie is very much the tone of the comic book. So I liked that a lot, even though they did take a lot of liberties with the comic book history or whatever of Ant-Man.
Yeah. There were a lot of things I loved about this movie, and like anytime we review anything, we do a lot of negatives. There's a lot of stuff I loved about it as well. I loved Evangeline Lilly. Like for me, she was my favorite part of the Hobbit movies, which is not a very popular opinion at all.
No, because she shouldn't have been in those.
I know
movies.
Exactly, but for whatever reason, I really loved her and her character. I thought she was great in this movie. And then Michael Pena.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
So you just ready to go on to the performances then? I guess.
Oh, sorry.
I was done with talking about the story. That's fine.
I was just trying to shift it to something more positive because we're
I got
really
you.
bumming me out. But unfortunately, that's where a lot of the positives for me lie. Where in the performances, I really appreciated their performances.
Oh, what do you think about T.I.?
Oh, I could have done without that.
Yeah, I could have done without his friends, other than Michael Pena.
Yeah, I mean, he was hilarious.
Oh yeah, he was great. I thought Paul Rudd was perfectly cast. I loved him in this movie.
I never doubted that casting, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really never did.
My wife hates it.
I thought it kind of made sense. Yeah, my wife, again, she doesn't know shit about movies, but she's like, why is Paul Rudd a superhero?
My wife said the same thing. I don't get that.
No, I don't
Like,
either.
she's like, I just can't see him as an Avenger. Is he an Avenger now? Apparently, that's how I hear my wife. She's the Wicked Witch of the West. No, I mean, I thought he was awesome. He killed it.
Yeah, for sure.
I liked how, and this is a little bit more of the story aspect of it, but I liked how they didn't force the love story. I thought that was done really well. I appreciated that. There's some touching moments, but they didn't kind of beat your head over the head with it.
Yeah.
The montage was really well done. I don't really like montages.
I wasn't going to bring it up in my notes. I have a note that says the montages in superhero movies are tired. And I thought that it was especially tired. And I mean, they're kind of necessary, I guess.
See, I liked it because, like I said, it's a heist movie. And so you kind of have to have that in a heist movie. You always do. They do it twice in this movie, though, if you think about it, because there's one where they're doing the original heist with Paul Rudd and T.I. and his buddies, to steal the Ant-Man suit at the beginning. Well, they don't know they're stealing the suit. And then, which bothered me, they never explain why, Scott Lang is good at parkour. Like, they never explain that. Yeah, he has this degree and he has a master's and whatever it was that he has a master's in. So he's a smart guy. So I appreciated the whole him cracking the safe and everything, him figuring out the fingerprint and all that stuff. I appreciated that, but they never explain why he's good at parkour. But anyways, I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, the montage. I really liked that. I mean, it's a heist movie, so you kind of have to have the montage sequence in it. And they broke it up really well where it's funny. It's just really funny. I had a lot of fun watching it. But I do agree with you. Montages in general are kind of tired.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So what'd you think about the action?
I thought I liked it. I especially liked the final fight between Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man. And I mean, but honestly, there wasn't a ton of action in the movie. Because like you said, it was more of a heist movie to me.
Yeah. I liked how it was different.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously him going from big to small, small to big, and then he has his ants, which another nitpick, don't really understand how he controls the ants.
Yeah, with the earpiece. That's all you have to know, man.
It's weird.
It's very weird. And I think that's the part that general audiences are going to have the most difficult time adjusting to or accepting, is that he makes ants move and do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it was weird. But anyways, I thought that brought a breath of fresh air. The fact that he can go real small and he can change his size, and that's a different dynamic that we haven't seen before. And
yeah, it was
like
cool.
I said, I thought the action scene at the end was interesting because we haven't really got to see much of a villain and a hero square off together that have essentially the same powers. And Scott Lang essentially has the older of the two suits. He has the worst of the two suits, but because he's used to using it and he's smarter and apparently awesome at parkour, he can do more with less.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And the scene at the end, the action scene at the end, going from big to small and all that good stuff is really funny.
Yeah, for sure.
I liked it a lot. And I really liked how they brought it back to the daughter, because she plays a huge role in the comic book.
Oh, for sure.
She's kind of the emotional center of that comic book. So I really appreciate how they brought her together. And I love, his name is like
Bobby.
I was going to say Billy. God damn it. I was so
Bobby
close.
Cavanaugh or something.
Yeah. He's really great in Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm always kind of happy when he pops up, and his character is really great in this movie.
See, that's I thought that he was great, but that's the stuff for me that was a little formulaic.
Oh, really?
It's like, oh, they're divorced and he's a criminal and the new husband is a cop.
Yeah.
He can't see his
Judy
daughter.
Greer got more screen time though.
You audibly laughed when she came on screen. And I thought that was so funny. She just plays the
mom in every movie. Tomorrowland, she got screwed.
What?
She was in Tomorrowland. She was the mom in Tomorrowland. Oh, yeah,
just the voice.
Yeah, she got screwed. Well, you see her like for 2 seconds.
How many fucking movies has she been in this summer?
I don't know.
And then the second season of Married starts soon. Like, she's been a busy lady.
I wish I liked that movie or that show more. It was
super depressing.
Yeah, especially for newlyweds like us.
It was like 2 months before my wedding, and it put me in a really dark place before.
That's where you want to be, man. Don't do it. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked his character, and I thought he did a really good job. And like I said, it felt like a lot like the comic book, because they're not together in the comic book either. And she kind of hates him, and she hates to love him, that she loves him in the comic book.
Yeah,
and,
gotcha.
They took some liberties with some of the characters, but I kind of liked how they kept the same tone of the movie.
What'd you think of the CGI?
I liked it. I mean, Marvel does what it does. I mean, they spare no expense.
I thought it was a little weak.
Oh, really?
Like, especially the stuff with the ants. It looks almost a little cartoony to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it plays better in IMAX and 3D maybe, because I heard the 3D in this movie is really good if you see it in 3D.
I can't stand the dark.
Neither of us are fans of it, but I heard that this movie is worth seeing in 3D, so take that as you will.
Did the ants kind of creep you out?
Yeah, a little, I guess.
Yeah.
Made me itch a little bit.
Okay, so explain to me, if he's got his little earpiece,
okay,
why does he have to yell at them?
I guess you could.
Is that just for us? That's for us,
it's for
right?
us, but I guess you could say when you're playing a video game, why do you sometimes yell at the video game character you're controlling with a remote control?
Because I'm psychotic?
Yeah. So maybe he's a little psychotic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's talking to ants. So yeah.
There's a certain beat in the movie, and it's at the end, and I don't want to spoil it, but I really want to know your opinion on it. So.
Is it when a particular character dies?
No, it has to do with an ant, though. Okay, fuck it. An ant gets big at the end of the movie, and it's just kind of...
Oh, yeah, that was corny. That was stupid. Right? I hated that.
And it's like the girl's dog now?
Yeah, that's the weirdest looking dog I've ever seen. And then the entire theater erupted in laughter. I was like, don't laugh at that. That's stupid. That's for kids. Yeah. Like, that's a joke.
Right.
Because that's Marvel is a family. Like, I mean, they've built this brand.
It's not for us. That joke wasn't for us. That's a good point. That's fine. Is an Ant-Man 2? Is this ant going to still be around?
I hope not. As much as I don't like DC movies, as much as I don't think that they're even in the same league as Marvel, that joke would not be in a DC movie.
How can you say that? You mean Man of Steel is not in the... Because if I remember correctly, The Dark Knight's the best superhero movie ever made. So how can you say DC movies aren't? Like, you gotta wait until next year to say that, and then you can say it.
I will be saying that next year. But would you agree with the point that I was making?
I wasn't even listening to your point. I was just too busy like, that's a dumb point.
But you didn't listen to the point. But I'm just saying, like, that kind of...
You're super eager to shit on DC when... Is The Dark Knight the best superhero movie ever made?
Okay, I think you're focusing on the wrong part of that statement. I really don't want to get into this debate with you. I was
continue.
No, okay, never mind.
No, it doesn't fucking. Please continue. Well, what was the point going to be?
That those types of jokes, those kind of family friendly, cute, kind of corny jokes aren't going to be in those darker type of movies.
No, I don't think they will.
Yeah, I was giving it credit, I think, but also shitting on it at the same time.
Then again, I think when you get to, it's not going to be in a Batman movie, and I don't want those jokes in my Batman movie, but I think maybe when you get to The Flash, or somebody a little bit more cartoonish, it'll probably have a little bit more humor.
Okay.
But with like what I'm saying is like with a character like Ant-Man, I mean, it's Ant-Man. You almost have to be a little tongue-in-cheek with some of it, you know?
But that was a little too much for me.
I don't know. I think that you made a really good point. A lot of kids see these movies. So if the 10-year-olds that saw this movie chuckled and enjoyed the big ant at the end of the movie, then I can live with it. So
okay, cool.
It wasn't a deal breaker for me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay. That's not what I thought you were going to bring up, but yeah, I'm glad you did because that big ant was, that was really stupid.
It was.
Unless you have anything else, I think that's about it for me.
Yeah, I think that we're good.
All right. So star rating?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay. I was going to originally give it a 3, but the more we talked about it, the more I realized I really did enjoy this movie a lot. I'm going to have to agree with you and give it a 3.5 as well.
All right. Awesome. So I'm glad that this character is a part of the Marvel Universe now. I'm excited to see where they go with it. And I'm excited to see, honestly, what role he plays in Civil War. I think it'll be pretty small. Yeah. But his role in Civil War is teased in one of the end credit scenes. So the stinger, if you will. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. All right, cool, man. So I've lost track of whose week it is for Nerd Favorite. So I'm just going to kind of give it to you and hopefully you can come up with something. Yeah. I'd actually thought of something. So. All right, cool. I brought up Trainwreck and for what I was into, so I figured we'll do what our favorite Judd Apatow project is. Okay, cool. So not just movie, the TV shows he's worked on are fair game. So I'll go first, give you time to think about it, since you had no idea that this was going to happen. My favorite Judd Apatow project is actually Knocked Up. Okay. I don't know why, but because I don't have a kid or anything, but I really connect with that movie for some reason. It hits a lot of strong, funny notes, but it's also a really strong relationship movie, in my opinion. God, I honestly think even as funny as 40-Year-Old Virgin is, I think that Knocked Up is funnier for me. Just, the way that the characters interact and the lines that you can tell are kind of improv is all so good. And, it's a really great ensemble cast as well. There's a lot of, strong names in that movie. So yeah, Knocked Up, I would say, is my favorite Judd Apatow project.
That's a good one. I like funny people. I mean, just because of the stand-up aspect, I like the kind of behind the scenes stuff with stand-up. But my favorite project would have to be, I know I'm probably going to get shit about this because everybody loves Freaks and Geeks, and it rightfully so. That show is great, but I prefer Undeclared. That show is so fucking hilarious, and it's such a fun show for someone to watch if they're about to start college. I mean, it's completely unreasonable. This is not what college is, but it's so much fun. And I just I was kind of that guy, my freshman and sophomore year that was kind of awkward around girls. I know that's probably hard for you to imagine, Tyler, but I was that guy. And I think a lot of people that watched that show kind of saw themselves. I can't remember his name in the show, but yeah, it was just fantastic. Seth Rogen's character is great in it. I mean, it kills me that only got one season because it's really, really good.
It says it only got one season, but it says it ran from 2001 to 2003.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is weird.
I've never seen it. I'm intrigued though.
Oh yeah,
Does it hold up? Or would it be like one of those things that
I've watched, I think the last time I watched it was like 2 years ago. I watched it with my wife. And I think I laughed a lot. I mean, it's still being graduated now from high school. Oh, I guess that's true as well. College, obviously, it's not a great representation of what you go through in college, but it's still, I still like it a lot. I'll let you borrow the DVD. Actually, I have the whole series on DVD.
Okay, awesome. I've never seen Freaks and Geeks either, and that's
I also have that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. So I'll probably just catch it on Netflix. But does that hold up as well? I know there's a huge cult following for that.
It's kind of dated because it's kind of weird because they have Freaks and Geeks, which is high school, and then Undeclared is in college. I don't know if he did that on purpose or not, but it's kind of dated. I don't know about your high school, but a lot of the stuff that they do in this particular high school, and really high school shows in general, isn't realistic at all.
For sure. At
least for my high school experience. So it's kind of hard to judge. I don't know if I just went to a really strict high school or not, but yeah, it's all right.
Okay. Yeah. I'll probably eventually check it out.
I prefer Undeclared because I think it has much more comedic aspects to it. I mean, Freaks and Geeks is funny, don't get me wrong, but it's much more of a drama than comedy.
Okay. That's unexpected.
Well, maybe a drama's maybe too strong of a word.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. So I guess that's it. That is it.
All right. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at The Nerds Podcast. Check us out on Facebook. Follow us on Google+. Definitely check out our new YouTube page. I just posted my first ever Let's Play. I'm pretty proud of it. More to come. I really enjoyed doing it. I like doing it a lot, so I will definitely be doing that. Some more Arkham Knight stuff, and then when Madden comes out, I'll show you guys how I just make these guys look like bitches online with Madden. I kind of started rambling there.
I thought you were still talking about Arkham Knight, and I thought you were saying that you made me look like a bitch by beating my time. You really didn't beat it by that much. Just like 2 seconds.
But I beat it, and I still have an overall higher score than you, so shut up.
I haven't done many of the AR challenges. So
shut your mouth.
I'm going to get my own little Let's Play set up, and I'm going to beat your ass.
All right. Well, that was a little bit of a tangent. Anyways, so definitely check that out. Kind of rambled a little bit. Email us at the nerdyou'relooking.for@gmail.com. Vote for us for Podcast of the Month at podcastland.com. Rate, review, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, basically any good podcast directory. We're on it. I can't think of anything else.
No, man, that sounds
well,
good.
I guess, check out the episode where I reviewed, Ant-Man on the Obsessive Viewer. So check them out. They're great. They're the best guys. So
whose review is, I shouldn't say whose review is better. I should say which of your reviews was better.
Well, I have to be honest. I have to say this one because this was like the second time I've talked about this.
So you had practice.
Yeah, that was like a little practice run. But no, I really enjoy talking to those guys. And to be honest with you, there probably wouldn't be the nerd you're looking for if it hadn't been for them inviting me on a few years ago for their zombie episode. So I kind of have to give them props. And I actually think I say that in the episode. But anyways, I haven't actually listened to it, so I don't know if he edited that out or not.
Jesus, how dramatic. I remember listening to that episode, and I mean, that's honestly how we got into podcasts. It's like, why the fuck can't we sit around and talk about shit we like?
Anyways, this is the worst, pimping that we've ever done.
Is it worse than that one I did where I really fucked it up pretty bad?
No, you're right. That nothing's ever going to be, at least I got the Twitter handle correct.
Well, there's a Twitter and there's a Facebook.
All right. So I think we're about done. I don't have anything.
Dude, people turned it off as soon as we said, is that about it? Yeah, that's about it.
All right. So for Patrick Kuhn,
Tyler Hunt,
we are the nerds you're looking for. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys. It
was weird.
And they used to live together.
Yeah.
So maybe they blew each other.
Oh, for sure. Is that your qualification for blowing people? They just have to live together?
You haven't blown everyone that you've ever lived with?
No, I've blown 0 of the people I've ever lived with.
I guess I'm a unique circumstance then.
Too bad we were never roommates.
That's just what they told me in college. Yeah. Like, you blow your roommate.
That's not a two-way street, by the way.